I'm curious to see how Walter, though, navigates this now that that's been stopped by the Ghost Mourner.
Now, I will say that the Ghost Mourner is not as strong here as it might be against other decks because it is unlikely that that monster will go to the graveyard at natural causes, right? It usually would be an Xyz material and therefore not on the field. But looks like we got our third, level 4 after all.
Yep.
I'll give you the effect or anything on someone.
You mind if I read it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good.
So, search.
Sure.
I think that's Caduceus. Super rare. If you control a Constellar Knight monster, you can summon it. Then you can, during your main phase, add a Constellar spell or trap. So this is what we saw in the previous game that allowed him to get access to his Constellar Tellarknights.
Overlay with this, can this be a 2-material card if it's negated? I'm going to attempt to.
It's a great question.
He's going to attempt to do it, so I guess that... Can I do this? That's a good way of...
Could be one of those unclassified effects we were talking about in the previous tournament, like Cool Tune.
Yeah, it might be one of those that's a condition and not something that is negated. Yeah. We'll allow the judge staff to make that determination.
It's definitely a very important question because that is going to come up multiple times this weekend. And for anybody playing this deck, they will want to know officially.
Right, if you were here and watched the first game, you're well aware that one of Walter's game plans really is to utilize the Stellar Knight Delteros and Tellarknight Constellar Delteros over and over again in order to utilize the effect in the case of Tellarknight Delteros when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard to search for a Tellarknight and special summon it from your hand or deck by destroying itself, or by utilizing Tellarknight Constellar Delteros as an Xyz material to detach it and then trigger its effect when it's sent to the graveyard except from the field in order to also special summon. So it's really integral to be able to get into these rank 4 monsters that actually require that third material. So we'll see what the judges determine here.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you really want to know that going forward because that really determines the power ceiling of the deck, and it almost informs your opponents, like, is this even an interaction I want to use or burn up on that card? But it's nice to see the deck for sure, and I just want to get back in the gameplay. But we'll have to wait till our judges decide how it works after all.
Yeah, so again, Tellarknight is a relatively newer strategy, at least this incarnation of the deck. So if you haven't seen it, I think it's been quite impressive thus far. It does look like the judges are kind of finalizing.
Maybe we're about to see what's going on. We'll see soon. But how do you feel about like the pace of this match going back and forth so far?
It's just blistering speed. I mean, these are two very high ceiling combo-centric strategies, and I think by and large, both players have played unimpeded, and we've definitely seen what that means. But it does look like the judges have made their determination.
So it looks like we could switch back into the gameplay soon.
Yeah, I think they've...
I know, it looks like they're still paused. My bad, my bad. Sorry, friends.
We have a side view of the table at all times. And
yeah,
Walter's
you see me looking this way, that's all. The duelists weren't ready, but now they are.
Oh, Walter was ready. Walter had already made a play, and they rewound it just a second so that we can actually see it. So we'll see Walter Xyz summon here.
Overlay for the guy that I can legally make.
So he says, for the guy that I can legally make. So it looks like they ruled that it could not be used as 2. So he has to go into Tellarknight Constellar. Caduceus, when this one's Xyz summoned, you can target a Stellar Knight and a Constellar in your graveyard and add them to your hand. And then the other effect is that you can banish a Tellar or Constellar Knight from your hand or deck, detach from this, and then its effect becomes that. So this is a way, again, of getting that second caster effect. Additionally, it does look like he elected not to utilize that first effect, so that later on in this turn, when he actually fuels his graveyard, this is a way of recurring an effect. Because you can use each effect once per turn, so you might notice that he did not use that first effect. He might use that later on. But he's able to summon the Vega. This one's another throwback if you're familiar with the original, say, Tellar Knights. This one allows you to special summon from your hand a Satellar Knight, and he used another throwback. This is the one that allows him to essentially Foolish Burial a Constellar or a Satellar Knight.
I summoned this one. I summoned this one. My bad. No. I just realized. No. It's a Tellar Knight. Yeah.
So maybe all the practice that Walter did, we got a little too tied up there, maybe from just the break in the gameplay. And that happens sometimes.
I banished this.
Even professional athletes, right? Break up that rhythm and things don't quite go according to plan, but we're just straightening things out.
The problem here is Constellar Castor only allows you to special summon a Constellar from your deck.
No.
You can't get into a Satellar Knight Vega. Now, one of the things is a lot of the more recent TELLARKNIGHT archetype cards have the text this card serves as its inverse, right? So a Constellar serves as a Constellar. That's not the case with the originals.
Which one went to grave?
So he's not able to actually summon, say, TELLARKNIGHT Vega from his deck.
Yeah, but it's supposed to go to grave, right? For the effect of this?
Yeah, this one's in the grave.
Oh, this is the... You sent one to grave and banished one, right?
So to replay
So
it,
just
I'm
to
going,
clarify what's going on there, he's detaching,
banish this.
banishing the
And then
caster.
the
Now
one
he still
coming
needs to
from deck
resolve caster.
Is this one.
But it can only summon Constellar monsters. This is, though, a way that he can actually still put a Sagian on the field, and now he'll be able to not get the effect to search, but he will be able to have the potential material of 3 monsters,
so
because
this
this
is
one
good,
is not negated by Ghost Mourner.
Wait.
So an important clarification there as we're getting familiar
Is
with
this
these
one
new TELLARKNIGHT
counted?
cards.
Yeah, this one is counted.
It is important to understand that the older TELLARKNIGHT cards,
Gotcha.
the ones that were initially released
ones don't.
a decade ago, do function a little bit differently inherently.
Nice to get the old decks a new coat of paint, but it is true that not every part
It's the same thing.
of the deck
except
works
it's gonna be the
together
same thing.
exactly.
Yeah, not
As you have
everything
the word,
works
yeah.
every way you want it to.
Exactly.
But now, ultimately, at the end of all of
I'm gonna
this,
end up
we
searching
are able to go into a rank 4 that has 3 materials.
Vega,
It is, in
and then
fact, the
almost always
TELLARKNIGHT
Vega.
Constellar Delteros.
And then the
This
Vega's
is the
gonna
one that will
summon
allow
it
him
anyways.
to add a
And then
TELLARKNIGht
that one-
or Constellar, and then conduct an additional normal. That's how he can then get the Vega on the field, which then gets from his hand the one that Foolish Burials, the
Mind if I read this?
Yuna Kalehi, from his hand, which then allows him to send from his deck to the graveyard.
And just to give you an update at home, when the Caduceus copied the caster and it wasn't correct, just like we were talking about, Walter did receive a procedural error minor. Just a warning, no big deal, but
Gotcha.
certainly a reminder he cannot or should not do that again in this tournament, so mistake learned.
And now he has Alterion in the graveyard, and this one allows himself to special summon it back from the graveyard if a Teller or Constellar Knight is special summoned, which, of course, that's definitely going to happen.
Ready for twins?
Okay.
And now we have Eclipse Twins, so if you were watching the first game, you saw just how powerful Eclipse Twins is in the strategy in terms of establishing multiple copies of Tellarknight, Constellar,
To do what?
X-Stellar Knight,
special summon from my
Constellar,
graveyard.
Tome, Omega, 7.
Sure.
Special summon. This?
Looks
Yep.
like we got to our next name here again, so building the overlay network.
Yep, so this
3
is
level
the
4s.
Constellar Tellarknights. Basically just lets him special summon from his graveyard,
Deltaros.
hand or graveyard technically,
Summon, I'll
but
trigger this too.
we'll
Summon.
now also be able to
We
see
will pro
from the
that.
graveyard
You
Alterion,
can't respond because
Oh.
Deltaros.
and you cannot respond because of, yes,
Got
this one's a throwback. That effect definitely came up 10 years ago when these cards first came out, but it's really interesting to see here
Gotcha.
that Stellar Knight Delteros, not only does it have the ability to destroy a card on the field, it actually makes it so that while it has material, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when you normal or special summon monsters. Well, it just special summoned itself. That's a continuous effect. So now the Tellarknight Alterion from the graveyard can special summon itself out, no problem, and any of these additional effects that are going to trigger can now all resolve without any interruption from Jordan.
And Walter got some information he would not have otherwise had, knowing at least that one of the cards in his opponent's hand is DD Crow, which means that is one less starter for a Red Dragon Archfiend combo.
We'll target Deltaros.
Looks like we're going to go ahead and target Delteros in the graveyard.
So that is going to banish it.
Summon this one off Deltaros.
Okay.
So no Xyz material. Still a giant of a monster there, but looks like we're going to
Factory
detach for the Delteros.
Okay.
Effect summon from deck.
Sure.
Destroys itself. And now we get to grab out of the deck here a Tellarknight Altair, one of the classics.
Yep, one of the classics, absolutely.
I'll tell you, when this deck first came out, it was a trip just watching them go from level 4 to level 4 to level 4. And that's basically still the story here.
Yeah, it just kept recycling Deneb, getting into future Altairs, and then it was a rank 4 toolbox deck, basically.
One of the best to ever do it.
I remember one of my friends lent me a giant hand back when it was a prize card, and it incentivized me to play this strategy because
okay.
that card was basically the best rank 4 you could go into, but it was relatively hard to find.
Got nice friends.
Yeah, so I played this at a YCS way back.
Oh, for which part? For right now?
I think I was
Oh my
on
God.
Hero around this format, but there are still some heroes left in Genesis as well. It's just nice to see all the
Okay, also-
old stuff come back, you know? Yesterday's cards.
All right, so now the Altair is summoning, again, from the graveyard. Altair requires you to summon a Tellarknight, except itself. So now he has access to a myriad of differing plays. We already know that he has the Eclipse Twins.
This one.
Use this turn.
So it looks like we did have a slow play minor warning for Walter, which means there'll be a 3-minute time extension. Typically the way that we do this on the live stream is that when the clock hits 0, we will add 3 minutes. So if this does go down to a photo finish, don't worry, that's not 10 minutes left on the clock. That should really be 13 minutes.
So now again, we saw this in the previous game. Here's our Dark Tellarknight. Our Dark Tellarknight again
I'll go with
becomes
this.
a quick
Target this
effect
rank
if
up.
there are 7 or more Tellarknights with different names. This one is only in the graveyard. It's not counting the banish pile. But this is
I'll go
potentially going to be one of the
back to rank
ways that we'll be
yeah.
able to see him rank up on the opponent's turn. Because, you know, what he wants to do, as we saw in the previous game, is establish these Otome Omega 7s, but also have the ability to threaten special summon another point in the turn.
Quick effect, shuffle away is still one of the strongest card effects in this game. You can think of all like the big boss monsters throughout competitive history, and a lot of them really did just have detach,
and
quick
face?
effect, get rid of it.
Nothing. Go ahead. Your turn.
All right,
Okay,
draw
pass
turn.
turn, let's see.
All right, so we'll have Jordan down to
Did
4
I discard
cards.
for my? I forgot to discard for my guy.
Oh.
It was this one. My bad.
Alright, so we got it done, it's okay.
You mind if I read
Yeah, go ahead.
the materials on it?
Yeah, that's an important clarification. The Dark Tellarknight, in order to basically rank up, does require that you discard a card. So, very easily caught there. And I mean, it was a relevant discard. It was a DD crowd.
So good on Walter. Nice, honest duelist. You learned that from the Hard Days competition.
Now, the Constellar Platome Omega 7 does count 7 Tellarknight names,
We'll go
but it does
standby
count them in
phase.
the graveyard and the
Hand phase?
banishment.
Yep.
So again, it might be one of those where you have to sit down and actually look at each individual card, but he
Go
might have the 7.
Oh, but there's
he'll-
the Kaiju.
Yeah, he'll probably definitely have 7 now. Kaiju's very common this weekend. It's one of the ways that you can get around these unaffected, you know, sometimes we call them tower monsters.
Oh, because of the Apocrypha,
Yeah,
right?
I was just looking at my material.
But no problems here as the Humongous dropping down, sort of crushing that Xyz monster underfoot.
Looks like he has a chalice and another Kaiju,
Definitely
so
7, right?
he's going to need
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that's energy, or sorry, something that's engine in order to combine with
Someone
this.
around
Oh, all right, this works too.
You could just Synchro Summon if you're lucky enough to have a level 1
Darkness
tuner.
Rest.
That is a level 1 tuner. I know it says
I'm
3,
gonna
but
give
give it
him
a second to
one.
activate its effect.
Effect to get an extra normal summon?
Are you the trigger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, trigger's good.
All right.
Do we make it 10? Do we reduce its level?
here.
Because Kumongous is level 7, so you could
So
go
does it
right
activate
into
right
Crimson Blade.
What? No.
Or it should be
Oh,
Gave
the
me a
Crimson
normal
King.
this turn.
Okay, sure.
I think Walter's just clarifying how that normal summon works. Is it something that needs to happen immediately, or is it sort of a lingering additional normal?
It is a lingering additional normal, something that Teller is actually familiar with itself, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of tricky because you got to pick a path here, right? Are you trying to go for a 10? Are you trying to go for an
Go
8?
Darkness Effect modulate level to 1.
So we are going to do some level modulation
Turn it
here.
into a level 1.
Yes.
I'll activate Skybridge. Target this.
Okay, so now the Skybridge basically
sure.
is going to let him trade out the Altair for another from his deck, and then he's going to have to shuffle that one back into his deck. This is going to summon a Tellarknight.
Shuffle this one. And then on summon, I'm gonna go.
Looks like a copy of Lyran.
Fanning out the whole graveyard
Turning 1
here.
to summon itself from the grave. Turning 2 to search.
Sure.
So yeah, so now the Altarians is going to summon back from the graveyard because a Tellarknight was summoned.
This.
That adds
And then I'll summon.
to his hand.
Duplicative copy there.
Yeah, but that's great, right? The Constellar
And then on summon, I'll
Tellarknights
do the effect
only
pop
gets a special summon
online.
from the graveyard or hand when it's activated, so you
Forget
do
this.
want additional copies for follow-up.
It's not like you're really using that
Change
many of your
chalice,
spell and
right?
trap zones, but here comes the Forbidden Chalice.
And then on
So
rest,
Altarian has an additional effect that's relevant to know that when it's summoned, you can target cards on the field up to the number of Light and Dark Exceed monsters you control and destroy them. So that's one point of interaction.
Remember,
Then
that was
obviously you
trying
still
to
have the
time
Platome
too.
Omega 7. So he's held that off as long as possible. Now the combination of both of those interactions
game.
checks what Jordan had available, and we will see Tellarknights moving on undefeated with a 5-0 record.
Incredible stuff there. I think that was a nice class of what the deck is really poised to do in this format, and showed you that while certainly having the very natural outs to it in terms of the Kaiju and the DD Crow, that isn't quite enough to stop it. So I wonder what matchup just magically lines up perfectly to stop the TELLARKNIGHTS, because I thought maybe Red Dragon ARCHFIEND would be a good pick for it because you just kind of keep playing into it. But maybe the mix of some of the breaks, cut off the additional combo lines. But, well, I guess we'll see. But Jordan, no slouch there, 4-1 in our Genesis Championship here, still could make it towards the top. So maybe we'll see both these duels in the finals.
And I must give Walter a lot of credit. I think a lot of players, when they are familiarizing themselves with the TELLARKNIGHTS, just think about Platomius. The detach 7, skip your opponent's next turn. We didn't see that at all. It was completely unnecessary. Walter went in a totally different direction in terms of navigating in constructing his deck.
Well, as we watch the judges pack up shop, Walter still looks pretty much in the zone. One of those duelists who has had major victories before and I believe competed on the World Championship stage here. And yet, he is just having another day here, just packing it up and just getting ready to play. But it's still so cool to see how many diverse decks are in this format. Even if it's a deck that people kind of expect to see, it is a different look. I mean, it's possible. We could see Red Dragon ARCHFIEND versus Console in advanced format, but I wouldn't put any stake in that for sure.
I think it's less likely. I think both of those decks are, again, as we mentioned, that maybe Blitzclick, the decks that you would anticipate seeing here in the Genesis Championship. So it's great now that we're 5 rounds into it to see some of those decks floating to the top as you would anticipate. Walter, very well-known player, very recognized player. He's been to the World Championship, YCS champion, and we'll actually hear from him now on stage and perhaps get a little bit of insight into his decision to play TELLARKNIGHTS this weekend.
Cool stuff.
Walter. 5 straight wins, no losses. Describe your emotions for me right now.
I feel pretty good. It feels pretty nice to be undefeated. I was scrambling a little bit at the end because the time was running out.
You stayed focused though and went to game 3. What was your mindset in that duel?
I was a little unfocused because I made a little mistake somewhere there we had to fix. But yeah, I went to game 3. That game 2 was the first game I've lost to the end of the tournament. But I couldn't really do much about it, so I don't feel bad about it.
Some little hiccups. How did you recalibrate?
Just focus and remember the practice. Just remember my plays and focus on the important things I wanted to have on my board. Because he did stop me. He did stop me with a couple cards, and he had DD Crow and Warner. So it wasn't exactly like the cookie cutter combo, but I was able to get there at the end.
You overcame for sure. And TELLARKNIGHT. Okay, talk to me. Why this deck?
It doesn't cost a lot of points. It costs about 40 something points. So I get to play a lot of pointed non-engine. So a lot of pointed cards like Swallows or cards like Effect Veterans, things like that can stop my opponent from going first. So I like that I'm able to fit those cards, and also the engine is so strong. I get to just do so much going first. Even going second, I can do a lot. I didn't get to go second in this match, but I can do a lot going second.
Okay, and the first ever Genesis Championship. Thoughts so far?
It's great. It's exciting. It feels like these events, like the NAWCQ, is like a true 3-day event, because we're gonna be playing all day today. Tomorrow we're gonna be playing. Even if a lot of people came mostly for the WCQ, they're like, why not? Let's just join the Genesis side event, and I mean everybody gets to have fun.
Why would you tell people to play Genesis?
It's fun. it's just another way to play Yu-Gi-Oh. It's for me, it's at least a nice addition to the standard format.
All the Yu-Gi-Oh, right? We love it. And is there anything you want to say to the fans?
What's up? I'll make a deck profile later.
Okay, what's up from Walter? We love to see it. Congratulations again. Gonna send it back to our casters.
What's up? I'll make a deck profile later. Okay, that's good. That's good. And I mean, potentially, he actually is going to make it up to the top, so he may cash the check you just wrote.
And again, going into Genesis, Platomius cost literally the full 100, so you're not turn skipping in Genesis. We saw him, though, able to navigate utilizing the fact that the rest of the engine is relatively low pointed in the grand scheme of things, and he even commented on, why would you play TELLARKNIGHTS without that turn skip ability that you see